to the AFE studios. Kevin McCullough in New York. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing on a daily basis to try to raise awareness of the issues that are surrounding us and the ones that have maybe the most impact on those of you that love your faith, that love your God, that love your family. That's what AFA Today exists to do, is to keep you informed, particularly in the middle of your day, here on those matters. So we appreciate you being here. Kevin McCullough is my name, and as always, so happy to be able to spend this time with you. My phone number is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Well, we had an election last night, and I don't get this stuff. Let me just read you some headlines. Gary Bauer. Not necessarily a bad night for conservatives. Let's see. The Associated Press, GOP and Dems split governor contest. There's a whole bunch of other headlines that are saying, Republicans didn't do so bad, conservatives didn't do so bad. I think we went 0 for 3 in the big races last night. Not that I would have voted for Chris Christie's opponent. I wouldn't. It's just Chris Christie's no longer a big, slam dunk for conservatives anymore. It's not. He's not a. He is intensely pro-life, but he's not safe for the family when it comes to the understanding of marriage and that entire debate. And he's proven that in a couple of things in recent months. But the interesting thing about last night was, everybody keeps talking about how the conservatives came so close, and Obamacare made such a difference in Virginia, and McAuliffe only won by 2.5 points, even though Cuccinelli was outspent $15 million. Friends, let me say this and make this as perfectly clear as I can. In politics, a win is a win. There is no moral victory. There is no great, pat on the back because Obama got 9 million fewer votes in 2012 than he did in 2008, if you care about the issues that were at stake in that election. Because if he wins, he wins. I don't understand everybody. It's a good thing that we're gonna have this this close outcome in Virginia. Why? It was only going to be beneficial for families if the conservative won. And now what happens? And this is a fundamental misunderstanding by a lot of very well-meaning, good-intentioned pro-family people. But what happens is when an election is taken, then that seat of power and all that comes with it, all the trappings that comes with it, now become the disposal of the one that won. So while people say, Virginia, it's still mostly a conservative state. Look how close they were in the gubernatorial race. You know what? It won't be that uncommon if Terry McAuliffe is a successful governor to create greater dependency upon state government within the boundaries of the state of Virginia, henceforth almost reassuring a re-election at some point. Actually, there's term limits in Virginia, so that's actually a good thing. But here's the issue. When you win an election, that matters. And so people voting and people understanding the issues and making intelligent votes, that all counts for something. It has to. And if you choose to say, we almost did it, we'll get them next time. Well, I'm sorry, that's just silliness. It's just silliness. What we must have in our current state of things is people that are informed, that are trained on the issues, that know where people stand, that see through the smoke and the mirrors of everything that's out there in terms of the messaging and the marketing that the candidates want you to get. Because, friends, you got to see through the marketing. You got to understand the bigger picture of what's at stake. And whether he won by 2% or 7% or 16% or 50% is irrelevant. It is necessary for more people to come to the cause of truth. So I don't want to see all this, patting ourselves on the back. We almost got that Virginia thing. Not in my house. Get that stuff out of here. To me, a loss is a loss. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe in your Virginia and you feel good about things today. 888-589-8840. Would love to hear from Virginians and see what your thoughts actually are. 888-589-8840. And you know why it matters? You know why it counts? Let me just cut to the chase here. This morning, Secretary Sebelius is back on the stand in Washington, D.C. You don't think elections matter? The president, when he gets elected, he gets to nominate a whole bunch of people to serve in an unelected capacity. And Kathleen Sebelius is one of these people, and she has said repeatedly in the last few days, well, you know, those people that are calling me to resign, I don't work for them. Those silly voters, I don't work for the voters. In other words, there's this swelling of elitishness that has set in her own thinking about herself and her job. Why is that? Because that's the way this administration acts largely anyway. But at the end of the day, she thinks that because we, the American people, let her forget that she works for us. So when she said last week, oh, well, you know, those people that are calling for my resignation, I don't work for them. Those silly voters out there. Don't you know I'm Kathleen Sebelius? You will drive my car and serve me my wine and cheese, and we will do as we wish, because we, Kathleen Sebelius and President Obama and the ruling party, which you don't rule, by the way, you serve. But anyway, we the ruling class, we will decide what is best. In our very educated and all-knowing and kind of all-encompassing self-importance, we will make sure that the American people get what's important for them, because we will decide what that is. It's kind of like the president saying, if you like your insurance, you can keep it, unless it's a policy I don't approve of, and then you have to get rid of it. It's kind of like that. And if you're okay with government being all up in your business, in your bedroom and in your kitchen and in your bathroom and in every part of your life, if you're okay with that, then don't pay attention to anything and just vote with, wherever the winds blow, election to election. But if you think it might make a difference to actually know something before going to the polls, then it's really important, friend. And this is not a partisan speech I'm giving here. I don't care. You're supposed to know before you vote. You're supposed to know a decent amount about the candidates and the issues and where they stand. And if you don't know that stuff, then you shouldn't vote. Oh, Kevin, are you saying that we're back to the days of the litmus test? Yes and no. I'm not saying that you have to be able to read, although that would be a huge benefit, or any of the things that the litmus tests that were wrongfully applied to African-American slaves in the 1800s. I'm not arguing for any of that. But if you don't know a single bloomin' thing about where your candidate stands, you just know you're going to vote because they have a D or an R behind their name, and all Ds are one way and all Rs are another, then you shouldn't be voting. Because you are actually lending your power to make a decision and to empower America to a cause that you don't believe in and you don't care about, so you shouldn't participate. And if you don't vote, and if you vote ignorantly, not knowing the specifics of the matter, then you're really not in a position to be able to complain about it later. Oh, I didn't know. If I'd only known that. Well, some people were trying to tell you. So last night, some of the pundits, Gary Bauer, not necessarily a bad night for conservatives. I disagree, Mr. Bauer. I think it was a pretty awful evening. I got a note from Fred Jackson yesterday of the One News Now crew. He sent me a link to Mayor-elect de Blasio's website, who was not mayor-elect at the time, but his only commentary in the thing was Kevin. And you have to appreciate Fred. Super dry sense of humor, very straightforward guy. Just one of these really super nice guys that works his whole life in the news business. Kevin, I will be praying for you. That's all he said with the link that he sent. And I'm like, thank you. We need it. We need it, especially in New York. We're going to need every ounce of prayer we can get because, my goodness, what this man has said on the campaign trail versus what people think he's all about, it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, 888-589-8840. Maybe you think I'm just too grouchy after the election. I'm not. I'm not grouchy. I'm very optimistic. I think that we still have the greatest opportunity of any country on the planet. I still think we have greater responsibility than any other country on the planet. But I'm not ready to spin all of this stuff into lemonade when I don't really sense that conservatives made any headway last night. Everybody was like, well, if Obamacare had just hit 1 week earlier, then everybody would be, then McAuliffe would have been defeated and all of this would have gone. I'm like, I'm not sure it would have. Maybe it would have. I don't know. The fact that it was a close election speaks more to the electorate in Virginia than it does, I think, anything else. And I think that there are some people just genuinely not loving the direction that our country's in, but unfortunately they sent back to the governor's mansion there someone who fully believes in the direction that the country's headed in. So however you want to square that, however that works out, I don't follow that funny new math. You know, I'm like an old-fashioned guy. I'm like Tim Wildman. 2 + 2 still equals 4 to me. I can't make it equal 5. I haven't figured that out yet. 888-589-8840. 888 Huh? Say that again in my head, Brent.
888.
Yeah. 589-8840. That's what I said. Did I not say that? Did I get that mixed up? I'm sorry. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Okay, so why do elections matter? Well, let me give you an example. Ms. Sebelius on the stand before the Senate with Texas Senator John Cornyn. Take a listen to this.
I want to ask you about the Navigators. The president's in Dallas, Texas today touting the Navigator program, which, as you know, are people who are hired to help people navigate the Affordable Care Act. But I would just like to ask you this question, if you would answer it. Isn't it true that there is no federal requirement for navigators to undergo a criminal background check, even though they will receive sensitive personal information from the individuals they help sign up for the Affordable Care Act?
That is true. States could add an additional background checks and other features, but it is not part of the federal requirement.
So a convicted felon could be a navigator and could acquire sensitive personal information from an individual unbeknownst to them.
That is possible. We have contracts with the organizations, and they have taken the responsibility to screen their navigators and make sure that they are sufficiently trained for the job. And there's a self-attestation, but it is possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we're going to take their word for it, right? Well, the person said he wasn't a criminal, so he's self-attested to saying he's not a criminal, so I guess we should. Yeah, well, the states, well, maybe if they want to take the background check, you know, that's kind of up to them. No, the federal implementers, they call them the navigators. They are out there looking for people to sign up into Obamacare. The navigators. I used to know another organization called the Navigators. They were actually very important. They were all about the Bible. But this group of navigators is not to be confused with them. This group of navigators are the people that the Obama team has sent out and said, go find the people that we can sign up for the Obamacare. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to check your background, so you could be a rapist, a murderer, a kidnapper, whatever. We're going to let you have access to the domain hub. You can look up everybody's medical history and all the rest of it. No, we're not going to do anything about that. Kathleen Sebelius telling John Cornyn on Capitol Hill before the Senate hearings on why Obamacare is not working. Do elections matter? I don't know. What do you think? Let's talk about it. 888-589-8840. I'm Kevin McCullough. I'm back. It's AFA Today. Thanks to Fred for sitting in for me yesterday. And boy, are we fired up. Stay with us.